Hi, Jim, friends. This is another fungible token discussion, and I'm joined today with EZZ.eth. You'll remember from a previous discussion that we had, but Easy, welcome. How you doing today?
Man, I'm doing good, Drew. I'd be doing much better if I had one of them good cigars you got there.
All right. Well, during this bull run, we'll get together and smoke a few,
We'll
maybe a few
definitely.
boxes. I'll join you on your yacht when we kick off this bull run. But one of the questions we've been getting a lot lately is about V3 liquidity pools, difference between that and V2. When I first started launching tokens, we were on V1 back in 2021, and it's and, and it's interesting to see how Uniswap has advanced and created these new formats of liquidity pools and some of the advantages and these upgrades to liquidity pools that we're seeing over time. So I guess so. Currently, most projects are running on Uniswap version 2, V2, for their liquidity pool. They're pairing with Ethereum. And I guess, Easy, can you give us a quick overview of how that works, a little under the hood, and some of the things that needed improvement with that and why they rolled out with version 3, these V3 liquidity pools?
Yeah, Drew. So with the V2 pools, they're full range pools. So basically, what that means is you're going to provide liquidity from zero to infinity. And with the V2 pool, you're also providing 50% of the coin of ABC coin and pairing that with the same dollar amount, 50% of Ethereum. And 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 what that does is, it doesn't pay you any rewards other than you get rewarded in Ethereum if price goes up, and you get rewarded in the token if the price goes down. And so with V2, um, and especially these meme coins, you really have to worry about something called impermanent loss with V2. If the coin never comes back, you're just ended. You gave up your ETH and you have zero um, value because now you're left with a dead token.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of the things that like we see with, I guess, with mainly the first thing with version 2 is you can really only pair a token with Ethereum. It doesn't open up the doors that version 3 does with pairing with other tokens, and kind of the complexity that you can get into that, and kind of some of the advanced things that you could do as a project founder or team. With version 2, everything is pretty straightforward. Um, it's important for people who are brand new to cryptocurrency and to dabbling with these fungible tokens to realize that when you see these market cap numbers, uh, those can be very misleading. So a project can start off their liquidity pool with less than 100% of the total tokens, and many of them do. And so those market cap gains, that market cap vanity metric can be gamified. And another thing, as tokens are swapped, as ETH is swapped for the tokens, in that pool that matches up the tokens with Ethereum, Ethereum increases in the pool as you swap Ethereum in for tokens, and as the tokens go down, the market cap goes up exponentially because the market cap is just the price per token multiplied by the number of tokens. And so as those tokens come out of the pool, that price per token goes up because the amount of Ethereum is higher in the pool, and the number of tokens is smaller. So the market cap goes up exponentially, and that's you get a lot of these kind of guys who are newer to cryptocurrency thinking, well, I'm sitting on $5 million worth of tokens, and they don't realize that now there's only 1% of tokens in the liquidity pool, and there's not $5 million in there for them to even cash out. There's maybe 100,000 or whatever amount of dollars worth of Ethereum, and that total value locked, that TVL, in that token, in that project, is the real number that really matters, instead of kind of this fugazi valuation of market caps. And so that also applies to version 3, but it's just something, for people who are brand new to ERC-20 tokens and just fungible tokens in general to realize, is that market cap can be very misleading for people, and their total net worth, or in their minds of how much their tokens are worth, can be misleading, because of just the dynamics of these liquidity pools. And so, Easy, I mean, have you seen that? I know you have, with people who are newer to cryptocurrency, and we've had some discussions about projects that market themselves, and people that come into your Twitter or X Spaces talking a big game about how much they have in different projects, and not realizing that it's not worth that much because there's not that much in the liquidity pool. Yeah, do you want to expound on that a little bit?
Yeah. So yeah, with that V2 pool, one other thing is, even the guy that has the value of, let's say, some ridiculous value of, it says he has $1 million worth of the token, and let's say there's $100,000 in ETH in that pool. Also, what he's not factoring in is, even if you were to sell, he still might not even get the whole $100,000 worth of ETH out of the pool, because the way the V2 works different from V3. So the V2, that sale will adjust the price of the coin within that buy, and he might receive a 95% price impact, just to sell the coin. But I want to touch a little bit on the V3 is where Uniswap really changed the game in V3. And there's so many options with V3 that you can do that I just really love. And a lot of people don't even know this. So one with V3 is, you can use this is what I like about V3. You can use a V3 pool as a way to limit buy and limit sell. So what I mean by that is I can go to a V3 pool, and let's say I like a particular coin and it's trading at $10, but I want to buy the dip on it. So, I want to buy it when it gets to 8, but it's on Uniswap, and you know how it does. You have to, you can't put a limit order in. It's not like a centralized exchange order book. So, but that's what V3 did. V3 gave you an order book. So I can go to a V3 pool or create my own V3 pool without the token. I don't even need the token that I want to buy. So ABC coin, I don't own it, but it's trading at $10. I can go to V3. I can put 1 ETH in, and I can set the range that when ABC coin reaches $8, it starts purchasing it for me. And I can buy that coin from $8 down to $4. So I'll get an average price of $6 on that coin. And what happens is, as the coin falls, Uniswap will then route to my pool. And that's and that pool is what you call a dedicated range, because I'm only providing sell liquidity for someone to sell between the range of $8 and $4. And when my pool gets filled, I can pull them coins out and keep them in my wallet. Now, what did that save me? That saved me gas fees. Like, I didn't have to buy at 8 and then try to get back to my computer when it was at 6 and when it was at 4. I can get the average price of $6 by providing liquidity from 8 to 4. And just on the opposite side, now I'm left with all these coins. The user that sold them to me, he has my ETH now. I have these coins. I can then go in to Uniswap the same night that I pull my coins. I could go in and say, well, you know what? Now I believe the price of this coin is going to go to $25. So I can go in and I could take the coins and I can set a range, let's say from 23 to 25. And as the price goes, so my ETH will just sit there. And as the price goes up, my coins will just sit there. And as the price goes up, as people are buying, Eventually, when it hits that strike price, Uniswap will route them to my pool, and they will start buying with their ETH, my token that I purchased a few days before, and it leaves their ETH in my pool. So that's just one thing. That's just one way of using V3 as a limit buy order and a limit sell order.
Yeah, I think especially when coming in and out of projects, using V3s like that in that exact example is a great way to come in and out of projects as a community member. One of the things that we've been doing for project founders is using various V3 pools as different structures on project launches. As the volume's coming in on a project, you can have set up these V3 pools with percentages of the tokens, or just an open-ended V3 pool with stable coins, with wrap Bitcoin, with other variations of ERC-20s and other projects out there that you can pair with during the launch to allow swapping in and out of those other protocols into your project. So there's plenty of ways, and we're just kind of opening the door on this version 3 of Uniswap. And it's also really fascinating for those of you who are geeking, more on the geeky side of things, to look at what Uniswap's working on already for version 4 that should be coming out hopefully by the end of the year, and just kind of the advancements that they're making. Another thing that's really interesting about V3 is it technically sets up an NFT for you, an ERC 1155 for these tokens and for these ranges that you're creating. Do you want to talk a little bit about that, EZ? How familiar are you with the actual structure of the V3 pools and how those pools are created with these NFTs, that you can pull in and pull out?
Yes, true. So, and sure will. The V2, whenever you provide a liquidity pool in the V2, it creates you a V2 token, a version 2 token. It provides you a token. In V3, it provides you with an NFT. Okay. And what I like about this is another thing that I like about the NFT. So I trade based off of this. So I can look at a V3 pool. I don't have to look at the green candle or red candle. Once I see something that I see conviction in, and it's a V3 pool, I will go look at the NFTs. And once you know how to read the NFTs, you can find out. So the pool, these V3 pools will have multiple different pools in different ranges within that pool. So you can look and understand that, okay, there's a lot of liquidity between price $5 and $7. It's going to take a lot of people buying at that price to move the price from 5 to 7. But then what you might find out is from 7 to 10, that dedicated range that somebody's providing liquidity for could be very small. So what that tells you is when the price hits 7, it's going to shoot up to 10 real fast, and you see them big wicks that shoot up. And what happens is they slow down because somebody else is providing the liquidity, say from 10 to 12, and they have a very dedicated range, which then suppresses the price. So I've been able to actually buy and trade cryptocurrencies just by looking at V3 pools, having nothing to do with red candle or green candle on the chart. I just understand, hey, in the next $1,500 worth of purchases, this thing is going to shoot up 40% because the range from there is 1,500 in buys, and that's going to get eaten through real quick, and there's going to be nothing to suppress the price, and it's going to jump up until that next range before it hits the next person who's providing the range. Now, there is one other thing with the V3. You can provide full range on V3 too. So you can provide a full range. And the other thing is with the V3, you have to be careful with this. And this is something that you can't do on V2, but you can on V3. And I see a lot of people getting confused here. They'll come in my space, or they'll tell me about a project and everything. And for me, I want to know, first of all, I don't mind putting $500 in a project. I don't mind putting 5,000 in a project. I don't mind putting in 50,000 in a project. It's where can I size myself in there? And what you'll find is a lot of people will look at the DEX screeners or DEX tools, and it'll say, oh, it's got $450,000 in liquidity. Well, that's the thing with V3. You can have $500 in ETH liquidity and $445,500 in the token, and it's going to show, you know, $450,000 in liquidity when you truly only have $500 in liquidity. So it's a farce that you really have to pay attention to, and I see a lot of that where people get tricked into thinking, like, when I see that, I know there's no way for me to get out. So no matter how much it's going to go up, no matter how much it's going to go up. And another thing, I just can't get in. It doesn't make a difference. The liquidity is not there. You think it's there, but it's not there. The other thing is, when I see a pool, and let's just say one that's not lopsided like that. Let's say one that has $10 million in tokens and $6 million in ETH. Okay, then I know how I can size my position within there. And I can go look and see these NFTs and see where these ranges are. And one more other thing I like to do. I don't do it much, but I like to find like I was doing it on Jesus Coin. At one time, I was the one providing the liquidity for the V3 on Jesus. I was putting anywhere between 5 and 7 ETH in there. Okay, well, the coin was going sideways. As long as that coin's going sideways, and I'm collecting a lot of the fees. Other people were providing liquidity, but they were providing full range. So for me, I'm providing the liquidity for if it goes up 100% or if it goes down 100%. And the only time they're using my pool because the coin is staying between that range. It's going up, down, up, down, up, down, and it's going sideways for days and days and days. Well, the coin was getting hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars in volume, and it was being routed through my pool. Even though you had all these other ETH within this pool, I was the one providing the majority of the liquidity within that range. And the rewards can be because you're collecting 1%. You're collecting 1% in the V3 pool if you set it up that way. And that's how I always set them up, as on the 1% side. And you think 1% is not a lot, but as long as the coin stays in that range and you got $100,000 in, and you know, some of these coins can do millions in volume in a day, long as it's within that range and you're the primary person, there could be 30 ETH in the pool. You can go in with 3 ETH and collect 90% of the fees. If you're providing, you can collect 90% of the fees with 10% of the money because you're providing the liquidity within that tight range. And when you have $500,000 in volume within that tight range at 1%, that's $5,000. Like,
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And I think everybody, as you test around setting up your own V3 pools for projects that you're just a community member in, and then for your own projects, play around with these limits, with these ranges, and it opens up the doors for a lot of things, especially with that 1% fee that you can put on there for that pool. And you know, and as we've kind of hit on a number of topics here, Easy, and I think you know we're going to get a lot of questions about V3 pools. And we probably should do a whole lot more video series going into more in depth on each of these topics. And there's plenty of others that we can get into as far as strategy goes for your more advanced cryptocurrency community member and projects and project founder that we can really take advantage of all the things that this technology of Uniswap version 3 opens up to us in this space. So yeah, thank you, Easy, for your time and just kind of jumping into some of these topics with me today. Any closing thoughts or other things that you want to add to it before we sign off?
Yeah, and I just want to say the 2 topics or 3 topics we talked about on the V3 pools, that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Absolutely.
One other thing, and I think you touched on it earlier, the other thing that V2 versus V3 is you can provide liquidity with coins and you don't even need ETH. And that would be a great topic for next time, where there's people that probably say, well, I don't really have much ETH, but I got a whole bunch of this coin over here and I got a whole bunch of this coin over here. And there's a lot of volume here and there's a lot of volume there. And how can I utilize an APR, a return on my 2 coins by providing liquidity with these 2 coins? And bots will route through your pool and you'll just make more of either coin.
Yeah, exactly. And especially when you're doing that, it's important to have a tight range on there or a range of what you're comfortable with. Because if you're open-ended, if you have an unlimited range on both sides, you end up finding the of those 2 tokens, the one that takes off and is worth more. At the end of the day, you'll end up with none of that one and 100% of the one that's not worth as much. So there are some risk involved in that. So it's important to take advantage of those ranges when you're doing token to token pairings on these V3 pools. But yeah, it's really fun and fascinating just to see how people are utilizing these V3 pools in their projects and just some of the doors that it opens up. So yeah, we're gonna have to do a lot more video series on this and get down into the weeds. So yeah, appreciate it, Easy. Yeah. Anything else you want to touch on before we close off, or you just want to keep going?
No, one more quick thing, and I know we'll be able to do multiple videos on this topic. But one other thing that you said at the beginning, and I read a couple months ago, I think the V4 Uniswap V4 pools were supposed to drop first quarter or second quarter of 2024. So it could be right around the corner that we've got a whole new product to learn. And I'm excited about that too. And that's something we can all learn together at the same time. So I look forward to it, Drew. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Easy, and have a good day. And for the rest of you all, if you have any other questions or anything else that you want us, even some of the topics we brought up today that you want us to go more in depth on, or think through different strategies on how to use V3 pools in your project, feel free to shoot those our way, and we can jump into those on future videos. So thank you all, and good luck this upcoming bull run.
Thank you, Drew.